Hello and welcome. It's now been 3 months since I made my last video, and that was when I made a video about Southend-on-Sea and the Echo Museum. This video is not strictly about a repair because in the last 3 months I simply haven't had anything to repair, but I've done lots of work for the local radio station and various other charities. But this video is going to be a little bit special because during that period I visited a radio museum in Watchet. Today is the 2nd of January 2023 and I'm stood, as you can see, in front of the wonderful vista of the Royal Crescent in Bath. Lots of people walking their dogs and enjoying themselves. And yesterday, the day before, in fact the whole of last week, this wouldn't have been possible because of the huge amount of rain we've been having and windy weather. But now we have sunshine, and it's just beautiful. I'll give you some shots around the area and then we'll get started on looking at the radio museum I visited in Watchet. So thanks for watching again, and I'm sorry it's been such a long time since I made a video, but hopefully this will make up for it and I'll get back into my stride again. Thank you for all my subscribers and all my viewers, and yes, I'm fit and well and back in the scene again. So let's get started. Well, here I am again. After all my build-up, I'm now out. I'm in Watchet and outside the radio museum, and it's normally closed this time of the year, but they very kindly said they would open for us. And this very short video is going to be about some pictures inside the museum and a little bit about the history of the museum. So I hope you enjoy. So let's get started. The museum was opened at its original site in 1993 by Neil Wilson, a lifelong radio enthusiast and engineer. The museum aims to offer an insight into radio broadcasting in Britain from the 1920s onwards. Its current site is at 5 Anchor Street, Watchet, Somerset, and I'll give all the address details and contact details a little bit later. Inspired by the 1930s BBC radio transmitting station at Washford Cross in Somerset, the Radio Museum houses an extensive collection of radios, televisions, broadcasting equipment and related emphoria. Even if you're not interested in radio, the equipment and the history involved is well worth seeing. So let's move back to the Radio Museum's current site in the centre of Watchet. The museum has organised all its exhibits in a chronological order, which is amazing to follow around. Unfortunately, I won't have time in this video to cover that, so we'll be showing just bits and pieces of the museum to give you a taster of what you can expect to find inside. So let's make a start with this absolutely huge transmitter, or part of a transmitter. Believe it or not, it was a 50 kilowatt transmitter, and I asked the question while I was there of how on earth did it get transported, and the answer was slowly and in pieces before being reassembled. Then we move on, and by the way, it was from Moorside Edge near Huddersfield. Then we move on to some early bush radios and some very old radio sets, the circular ones. An outside broadcast table that was used by the BBC, and then some utilitarian radio sets, all made of wood. And we move on through that to an Uncle Mac annual, together with a record containing some other requested tunes made by the children. And a BBC emergency loudspeaker used in case of studio failure of other systems. And in front of it, of course, the iconic BBC microphone. This microphone was designed specifically for the BBC and for their use, and my goodness, how many times we see that. Next, a dual microphone setup used for important occasions including royalty. The two microphones were not for stereo, but in case one failed. As you move around this museum, you never cease to be surprised. And this is an original EMI master tape recorder from Abbey Road Studios, and one which may have well been used to record the first Beatles LP, Let It Be. Not necessarily any proof of that, but on the top of it there's a picture of the Beatles and George Martin. This machine was developed from a German design which was captured at the end of the war and developed by EMI and used extensively by EMI and the Abbey Road Studios. So what a find, and what a wonderful machine to have actually touched. Quite early on it was recognised that the BBC needed a form of recording remotely, and this was an early portable recording machine which used to record audio on those aluminium discs. This video couldn't possibly hope to cover all the exhibits in this wonderful museum, but as you look around the place you'll see shelf after shelf of memories. And as I said earlier, if you're not really into audio or into radio, you will certainly have your memory stimulated by looking at some of these old receivers, record players and TVs. And there's me just before I leave having a last look. Well, that concludes our tour of the Watchet Radio Museum. Great thanks to Neil Watson for allowing us access and for helping us look at all these wonderful exhibits. And now we'll go outside again and have a little look around Watchet before we go back to Bath. So I hope you enjoyed the visit to the museum, and just a little bit more to go before we come to an end. Just one more interesting fact about Watchet Harbour. It is said that it was the inspiration for the epic poem The Ancient Mariner, written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. In 1797, as he walked over the Quantock Hills from his home in Nether Stowey with his friends, now wait for this, Dorothy and William Wordsworth, they came upon Watchet. It has been said that looking down at the town and looking at the harbour gave him the inspiration for his poem. Well, I hope you enjoyed our visit to the Radio Museum at Watchet. It's free to enter. They do ask for donations, but it's open from spring right through to late summer. And if you want to visit outside that time, there's a number which I'll put up in a minute and a web address which you can contact the proprietor and arrange a visit. If you're interested in radio, it's absolutely amazing. You can spend a long time there looking at some of the early and vintage radios and some recording equipment. If you're not interested in radio, then Watchet is a wonderful place to visit. There's other attractions there, and the dock area in Watchet is very good. It's got lots and lots of history, which I'll let you find out for yourself. I'll put up the web address of the Radio Museum in a moment, and a place to visit, places to visit in Watchet. Thank you for watching this fairly short video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, from me, take care and enjoy your 2023. Goodbye.